Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to be giving you my review on The Real Housewives of Atlanta season 14 episode 4. So let's get right into the video. So I want to start off by saying Sheree is no different than Drew. They start off the episode with the ladies and their respective spouses, or at least those who have spouses, going out to eat. Obviously they're continuing the conversation that they had in the last episode. I will say that I have never seen so many apologies being handed out like it was at that dinner. Sheree, who do you think you are? You are not Queen Bee. You are not somebody that anybody needs to bow down to. In my opinion, the reasoning why Drew went after you the way that she went after you is because she thought you were the one spreading the rumors. I think one apology is good enough. You don't need a plethora of apologies. And then Candy apologizes. It was just like all these different apologies, and I'm just like, girl, Sheree, you are no different than Drew. You guys both did the same thing. The only difference between what you did and what Drew did is Drew went to Candy, whereas you went to one of your friends. It would never have come out. We would never have known until your friend blurted it out at the table that she heard the rumor between Drew's husband and somebody else from you. So, girl, two wrongs don't make a right. So Kenya gets up from the table because she receives a call, or a text message rather, from Mark, and she needs to kind of get herself together, go out for air, as she says. So Marlo follows behind her, and I know that Marlo has her ways, but I think that there's a sweetness to Marlo. I think that if you're a good friend to her, she is a good friend to you. I can appreciate the fact that she went out after Kenya just to make sure that she was okay, because she clearly saw how upset she got at the table. So they go outside, and Kenya shares the text that Mark sent her, and Marlo's just like, listen girl, don't let him get to you, don't let him make this a bad evening for you, we're all having a good time, blah 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 blah, just trying to cheer her up. And I feel like Mark really gets under Kenya's skin, obviously. And I think that he has too much power over her, and I think that she needs to take her power back. I think that you can co-parent in a way that the other co-parent doesn't make you feel less than, or, you know, make you feel bad about who you are, or make you feel like you're doing all of these things wrong. I feel also like just because this man has a whole bunch of, I don't want to say a whole bunch of, but just because he has other kids, that does not give him a PhD or a title, like a know-it-all type of title, like he knows everything about being a parent. And I feel like that's kind of where he makes Kenya feel less than. And I think that she looks at herself like that because she's like, well, he does have more kids than I do, and I'm kind of new to this whole thing. No, Kenya girl, trust your instincts as the mother. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Every time we see Brooklyn, she's happy. You guys are happy together. You're doing a good job. I don't even like you, but you're doing a good job. Don't let that man have any more power over you than he already has had. Take your power back. I also want to applaud Kenya because when they were having a conversation, Candy comes out. So Kenya and Marlo are having this conversation where Marlo's trying to cheer up Kenya, and here comes Candy saying, you know what, well, maybe suggesting almost like maybe you should just wait for him to try to be a part of his daughter's life. And Kenya was like, no, as a mother, I can't do that. There are so many women who, and I'm not saying Candy was saying be malicious towards him or anything like that, but there are so many women who keep their children from their fathers. So the fact that Kenya recognizes the importance of Brooklyn's relationship with her dad is so beautiful, and just I give her kudos for understanding that. And I think it's in part because she does have a good relationship with her father from what we have seen in seasons past. So now the ladies are seated back at the dinner table, and Marlo basically tells Candy, listen girl, I think you're doing too much with this whole sex thing and all these sex toys. And I have to agree with Marlo, like, why did you have half-naked people coming to these women's houses, inviting them to this trip that's about a play? It's nothing sexual. It's not a candy-coated night. It's not whatever those little parties, the dungeon parties that she was doing. That is when having that type of thing is appropriate. But this is a play on Broadway in New York. I don't think it made any sense. I don't know where Candy was going with that, but I'm with Marlo. I'm with Kenya. No, ma'am. So in the next scene, Kenya and Sonya meet up, and Sonya is just, they're both discussing what happened the night before, and Kenya's just like, you know what, I think I was too hard on Ralph. Girl, no, you weren't. He deserved every bit of what you were giving to him because he is exactly what you say he is towards his wife. He's very nasty at times and very ugly, and it's just, yes, he does put Drew down. He does make her feel a certain type of way. How can she not feel a certain type of way? As the husband, your job is to protect your wife. The way that he speaks to her is not protection. So I totally agree that Kenya handled it in the way that it needed to be handled because he was wrong and he needed to hear it. Who else would he have heard that from? His wife has been saying it, but it's one thing when your wife is saying something, it's another thing when another individual is looking from the outside in and is like, nah, you're not treating her right. The way that you moving is not right. So no, Kenya girl, you were dead on saying everything that you said to him. So here comes Sonya, and y'all know I love Sonya, but girl, you are reaching. I feel like, but I just think, Sonya, girl, you're being messy. I'm pretty sure that you've seen seasons past and you know that Drew is the girl that's had some problems on the show last year, and you're looking at this as an opportunity to kind of make your mark, and it's not making sense. I didn't understand what she was trying to convey to Kenya. Like, these women put their hands in each other's faces. These women have these type of confrontations. These women have people in their ear talking about other people, and they bring that information up. That's the whole thing that makes this the type of show that it is. So if you're not okay with that, then you're on the wrong show. And just another thing, everybody's getting on Drew about who she should have shared the charade information with. Sonya, if this is how you feel about somebody who appears to be a good friend to you, Drew, let me remind you guys that Drew, the first person that she called outside of her husband, who wasn't even in town, was Drew to come and pick her up when she got into that accident. So you guys have a decent relationship for you to do that. Being that you guys have that relationship, if you really had an issue with Drew, then you should have pulled her to the side and told her first, and you should have felt 100% confident in doing that. Going to Kenya, who you know has had issues with Drew in the past, to me is very messy. So Sonya's talking to Kenya about Drew's workout thing. I don't know what it's called because I'm really not interested. But here goes Kenya. How's she gonna start a workout thing when she has half a stomach? Kenya, this woman had a mommy makeover. She did not have a bariatric bypass surgery or anything like that when they go in and cut your stomach in half. She got loose skin removed and her abdomen tightened up and a breast reduction and whatever else she said that she got. But she certainly didn't get any type of geriatric surgery. So those are two different things. So we see a scene where Sheree is basically, everybody's getting ready. Sheree calls Candy and she's like telling Candy basically that Tyrone is not going to make it. And here goes Candy in her confessional talking about he's not going to make it because he's at the other woman's house. So that's very interesting. I don't know, to be honest with you, much about Tyrone, but for Candy to say that, Candy be having the tea on people. So for her to say that there must be something there, I'm curious to know what that is. Like, does Candy think this man is a cheater? What is her viewpoint? Also think it's interesting that Candy was checking Todd, like, okay, who you going to the barbershop with, or where was he going? Who you going to the gym with? Candy girl. And then he didn't want to say anything, like, oh guy, here you go. So again, like I said in my last video, there's definitely trouble in their relationship. There's some cracks there. I don't know if Candy is kind of feeling like maybe he's stepping out because she's not doing what she used to do at home. I'm not sure, but I'm telling y'all, there's some situations going on in that relationship. So the women go out to, I guess, like a lunch or an early dinner before they go to Candy's play, and they're all around the table playing a game about which celebrity has had the biggest crush on them or whatever. And Drew says that she and LeBron James had a thing. And I'm kind of looking at it like, first of all, why did they censor his name out? Like, everybody else was dropping names. Candy said Gerald Levert. Kenya said Prince. Marlo said Gene Simmons. So why, when it got to freaking LeBron James, they crossed out his name? I was a little confused by that. Maybe because it's a potential lawsuit. Does that mean that it's true? So, I mean, I know the man is a married man and everything, but to me, they trying to avoid a lawsuit. And I don't know why his name was censored out. Like, we all know when you say the king of the NBA, we know who you're talking about. And a lot of people are saying, oh, Drew is lying. And then there's a lot of people saying that they believe it. Listen, yes, LeBron and his wife, who was then when he first came out of high school into the NBA, was his girlfriend, have been together since high school. But people take breaks. We all know that from the Dwayne Wade Gabrielle Union relationship. You take a break here and there. And they were both young, so I'm pretty sure that he's probably done some things that he's not pleased of. And I probably would believe that Drew was one of those people he did something with. I remember back in the day seeing a video of him and Beyonce's cousin, and she's here and she's there, and they're very close. So to me, it's not far-fetched to think that perhaps this could be the case. Now they're headed to Candy's play, and Candy has these women wearing these underwear with the vibrators in there, and she has the remote control to control the vibrations. And I guess like random people have each other's remote to kind of control the sensations, which as a married woman, I think is crazy. I thought Sonya was crazy for wearing it. I thought, who else had it on? Drew was crazy for wearing it. I would never be okay with another man aside from my husband controlling that area of my body. Okay, like that's not cute. And we see on the show that Ralph is like zinging Sonya multiple times. Ralph, honey, what are you doing? With his wife sitting right there and her husband sitting right there. I don't know. I just thought it was inappropriate. And my thing was, who was zinging Candy? Like who was getting her? Who was getting her? I don't know, y'all, but I also thought it was pretty nasty that Sonya digged into her woman parts to adjust her underwear right there on the bus. Nasty. Not for me. Not for me at all. Everybody goes to the play, and Candy got some great reviews from the castmates. They all enjoyed it. Sonya's husband talked about how relatable the male characters were to him. So definitely kudos to Candy. You know, Candy takes care of her business. Kudos to her. Her castmates love it. It was greatly reviewed. I did see even people that I'm friends with go to it, so I did hear that it was pretty good. Candy basically tells the women, listen, everybody put on your pajamas. We're gonna go to the second floor and kind of have like a little get together. So the first three to arrive are Marlo, Kenya, and Sheree, and they're discussing Drew and this whole workout thing that she's doing. And Kenya calls it like a Ponzi scheme. They can't wrap their head around the fact that this woman had a mommy makeover, and how is she doing this video? How is she helping people lose weight? Which I can understand why that's an argument that you might have. So the ladies in their confessional, Marlo tries to get on the actual site to see if she can buy it so that she can, you know, do the 21 days, I guess. And Marlo's not able to get on the site. There's some type of error, like the site is down or something like that. So they all get in their confessionals. Marlo's like, listen, what does she have? Her line that she has? La Archive. You can go on La Archive. I know my website is working. Kenya's like, you can buy hair products from Kenya Hair Care, whatever her thing is. Right now, everything is good. And then here comes Sheree. Was She by Sheree? That's still not out 20 years later. She's like, I don't, you know, when She by Sheree is up and running, you'll be able to. Girl, ain't nobody waiting for She by Sheree no more. You're way past She by Sheree at this particular point in time, ma'am. We are over it, okay? Over it. You can keep it. So now the rest of the group has arrived, and Todd quickly gets the men up out of there because he's like, I already know how these women get down. We don't need to be around here. Let's go out to the balcony or wherever they went. Maybe they went to a strip club. Who knows? But they take off, and the women are there to talk. And Kenya's like, come on, guys, let's all clear the air. Make sure everybody is good with each other. Kenya's very smart and knows what she's doing. This is Sonya's time pretty much to go out there and say what she needs to say to Drew. So as she's talking, she's setting her conversation up with Drew. And the first thing she says is, you know, I didn't want to say this in front of everybody. I was trying to look for the right time. And Drew is looking at her like the rest of the group is looking at her like, girl, where are you going with it? She's basically trying to tell Drew that she didn't like how she was towards Sheree. There's some things that she doesn't like, blah, 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 blah. And Drew was looking completely confused, which I am too, because I'm just like, you've had ample time to share this with this woman. Why are you sharing this with the group? Like, girl, you know what you're doing. You're a little messy. You know what you're doing. And so Drew is totally confused by the whole situation. And at the end of the day, that conversation is squashed because Marlo was just like, moving right along, let's talk about this website that you have and why I wasn't able to get on. So after Marlo started that whole thing with Sonya and Drew was squashed. They bring up the fact that Drew had the mommy makeover, and Drew was like, I had to get a mommy makeover. Mommy makeovers are not for medical purposes, they're more so for cosmetic purposes. So Drew was talking about she had a hernia, this, that, and the third. I want to get a mommy makeover, to be honest with you guys, and I'm in mommy makeover groups. I never heard somebody say that they had to get a mommy makeover. So I'm not really sure where she was going with that. Just say that you weren't happy with the way that your body looked after dropping 2 or 3 kids and you wanted to change some things. There's nothing wrong with that. These women all have had some type of work done. Drew is basically trying to explain to them what her business is, and nobody is really getting it. Nobody is really buying into it. They all think it's some type of scheme, and if you look at how she's explaining it, I could easily see why you would come up with the same conclusion. So Sheree does, Tyrone calls Sheree and she does a little FaceTime with him and the rest of the cast, which I thought was really nice. He seems like a nice guy until we get to the last segment of the show. It was a 2-hour trip she takes to Philadelphia to sit and have dinner, lunch, or whatever it was with him, and homeboy does not show up. Out of all the years that I've seen Sheree on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, I don't think I've seen her cry not one time. And she was boo-hooing over this man not showing up. She calls Kenya and tells Kenya like what happened, and Kenya's like, well, you said you were going to give him a chance, so look at this as strike 1. And then Sheree says, well, this is more like strike 51. So to me as a viewer, I'm wondering what else he has done to earn 51 strikes. And if you're in a relationship with someone, I guess you can kind of maybe work through why that person didn't show up for a date. But the way that she was like, I'm done with him, kind of like she kind of presented it like she's done with him, I'm feeling like there's more to the story. There's more to their relationship. There's been multiple times, more than likely, that he has disappointed her with not showing up or just not being the person that he says he is. So I really felt bad for Sheree. Sheree is not somebody that I particularly care for all the time either, but in this instance, I definitely feel bad for her. It's just sad. And at her, everybody keeps throwing around her age and stuff like that. So I guess at her age, she really shouldn't be having to deal with this type of mess. But here we are. So that is my review, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.